All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is your General Greene here, founder, creator of the islandproject.com. God bless you all tuning in. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. It is Monday, June 30th, 2025. We are living through biblical prophecy and history. And this is a breaking news alert. July 4th, red alert. Red alert, July 4th fast approaches. Of course, I've made several predictions of this over the last 3 weeks. The United States is preparing for code red. Code red, a number of false you-know-what events are now happening now. As we predicted, this is urgent. This is absolutely urgent, so please like and share. And I want to thank you all, too, for sharing our video that we released on Saturday, the emergency alert. That was shared to a lot of people, and I'm so thankful and grateful that you guys would do that, because I believe you got a very good message out to the public that they needed to hear, and especially they got the most important message, which is salvation through Jesus Christ. So thank you so much. It's very humbling here to be on this channel, and just know that I love you, and I'm extremely proud of all of you tuning in. So please like and share this video as well, because this one's going to be big. For those of you that remember that are following me here on YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, I also have a Rumble account at AMTV Media, and also on Twitter, I did a video 3 weeks ago wrapped in an American flag. Wrapped in an American flag. And I did that for a reason. I was making a very specific point as we approach July 4th and the coming events that I thought would happen. Again, I prepped you all for June 14th. I told you June 14th was significant. I said June 14th was a militarization. June 14th, then the protests exploded. The No King's Day, pre-planned, already funded, probably George Soros or someone else, all across the country, protesting the No King's Day against Donald Trump. Boom, I predicted the airstrikes along with y'all on this channel as well. Friday the 13th, Iran is attacked by Israel. Then, boom, we predict the B-2s in the air being used as decoys, prior to that even being public knowledge. Boom, Donald Trump strikes along with the Pentagon, sends decoys out to the West Coast, which then landed here, actually in Honolulu. He sent 3 B-2s that struck the 3 proliferation sites. Boom. The military parade hits June 14th, building psychological awareness, propaganda for the upcoming war, and now this. So I do believe that we saw a false event yesterday, which tragically took place in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. I do have some really good friends out there. In fact, one of them is a local Hawaiian, and he moved from Hawaii over the last couple of years and moved into the deep pockets of Idaho, and he's a member of one of the really great churches over there. And so Idaho is not only just a breadbasket of Americana and wonderful, amazing people, for those of you probably tuning in from that region, and good, God, honest, fearing Christians, not to mention just brawn and brute force, American patriots. But it also has a deep, convoluted history with the agencies. And so something seems really fishy. My first instinct, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this story, but this is just the start of these events, right? They're conjuring these events up in America. Notice that there was a black van. I think it was a Mercedes that exploded in Washington, D.C. I believe it was on the south side of the Capitol yesterday as well. So again, there's going to be pushback from the events that we just saw in Iran, from Donald Trump's massive move, pushback from what we've seen in Gaza. That's still not over, even though the dust is starting to settle and we're getting a movement towards what they're calling peace, probably before sudden destruction, as it tells us in the Bible. There's going to be pushback. So we've already warned about that. It's very important to stay on your toes, especially as we approach July 4th. What a wonderful celebration. Also a wonderful celebration here for the Island Project. For those of you who don't know, we launched approximately 3 years ago, declaring our 1776 revolt against the system post the 2020 lockdowns. We've since raised $33.5 million. We're fully committed now, Congratulations to all y'all. It's your last chance to add to your units, last chance for any remaining entrants to come in to get into the project. And we are actually celebrating our own anniversary, our July 4th Independence Day here at the Island Project. So that's pretty cool, but just understand that there's a lot of focus on that day, especially among America's enemies, especially among, our enemies that may or may not exist in Iran or pockets here within our own country that we need to be aware of. Again, Joe Biden kept the borders wide open his entire administration because he wanted all these people to come in, which I think was by design to intentionally destabilize the United States, because what they want are open borders, bring everyone in, and then by changing the population base, they all of a sudden have all these Democratic voters that came in for free that then vote for Joe Biden or Barack Obama or whoever the next liberal, president running is. So big news. Now, on the positive front, we had some really crazy stories too. Let's talk about this for a minute over the weekend. Peter Thiel, very close associate with Elon Musk, member of the PayPal mafia, one of the smartest, really, people in the world, I would argue. I've read all of his books. I've studied him. I know him well. And he made some really crazy comments this weekend during an interview. I think it was with the New York Times. You probably saw these clips really spreading across X. He was asked two direct questions. One, does he believe that humanity should survive? Here's what's interesting. He pauses and he's unsure and he barely responds. So he was directly asked whether or not he believes that human populations, the American people, and humanity should survive this transition into robots, AI, transhuman things, like all that. I'll keep it PC for the algorithms. He didn't know. So he starts sweating from the temple. You can tell he's thinking and trying to processing the data and how he's going to respond. And then there's just this long, dramatic pause. So he's not sure whether or not he believes humanity should survive. He was also directly asked if he, and there was kind of innuendo in it, if he was helping to usher in the Antichrist, something he also could not answer, and he started sweating profusely. So here's what's crazy about this. It's becoming a lot more obvious now to the American people who these people are. Now, I want you to also understand, disproportionately, these are the people in power guiding you. So these people that don't know whether or not Americans should survive from here, that can't even answer it, very simply. I mean, that's an easy question. Yeah, of course humans should survive. He can't answer. And when asked whether or not he's ushering in the Antichrist, he starts sweating profusely on camera and still doesn't know. So people are better understanding, and Peter Thiel, for example, is a very conservative, libertarian-minded, Malthusian intellectual. And I would argue he's probably one of the smartest intellectuals of our time. You should actually study him, because these are the people in charge. I mean, you want to study those that own the whole world, right? The people that are calling all these shots, that are actually the ones making the decisions. Like Peter Thiel elected the president. He elected J.D. Vance. He's in charge. So we have to understand that you should study the people that own the country, right? Like Jeff Bezos owns America. Elon Musk, largely, although Trump is kind of pushing back against him. I'm going to get to this in a moment. I mean, they own the place, right? They own the whole surveillance apparatus. They own the 1984 George Orwell. They own all the companies. They have all the supposed wealth, all the money. So they should be looked at. But Peter Thiel is a Malthusian, which basically means it's the school of thought that they believe human population growth is growing too quickly. And so they're very fearful for themselves because they're billionaires and they own pretty much all these resources and assets. And they're very fearful now that the population's growing so rapidly, soon to 10 billion, that they're going to have to do something, right? Otherwise, all of our resources are going to be extinguished. Food, clean air, water, safety of our cities, etc. So do you understand here? This is the reason why people like Bill, the guy over at Microsoft, is of the same school of thought. because they're looking at it from their own perspective, right? They sit on a perch and they're looking at the global economy going, uh-oh, this is out of control. We have too many people. So what are they going to do? Well, I think you know what they're doing. They're, deleting. Do you understand? So a lot of these topics I'm not really allowed to talk about, but the important thing to note is that none of this stuff is hidden. It's all wide out in the open. I mean, again, he's being asked directly, are you ushering in the Antichrist? He's basically agreeing that he is. That what they've unearthed with AI and these portals and other dimensional beings. And I also notice, and I pray for Peter Thiel, and I pray for Elon Musk, and I pray for all these people in our country, but I actually don't think he even realizes what he's ushering in. From the standpoint, I notice that he's twisting a lot of Christian doctrine and twisting what it actually says in the Bible. He mentions the famous verse from Thessalonians where it talks about like peace and safety before sudden destruction, but he's like twisting it all. So again, he's not a believer, but he understands. I mean, he's well-read, he's well-educated, he's arguably a genius, but he's twisting the message. Exactly what the inversion of truth and light and actually what the Antichrist and Satan would do. You have to understand too, when these people that don't believe in God, and I'm not picking on Peter Thiel, but in general, if you don't believe in God, you're in a sense of panic, right? Because especially if you're very wealthy, you're trying to hold on to the false idols of this world. You don't realize that you can be saved through Christ and live eternally. So there's this huge, okay, it looks like I'm back. See, they don't want this message out. Did you notice that? Because we were freezing there. So there's this huge panic and there's this rush because they don't believe that they can live forever. So there's this transhuman agenda where they're panicking. They want to become God. Okay, they want to be God. This is why Satan, of course, fell, one of Jesus's and God the Father's prized angels. So they're very much interested in living forever. And also, too, I'll just point out, again, we pray for these people. Peter Thiel does not look well. He doesn't look well at all. And this is just speculation, so I have to say allegedly. But notice he's very gaunt in the face. And it appears that he might be, this isn't, again, no concrete facts, but I see what I see with my own eyes. It looks like he's on some kind of pre-medications for, well, I don't even know if I can say it, but, Peter Thiel, Sam Altman, how do I say this politely? They're not wed to women, okay? They're wed to dudes, okay? So you have to understand their philosophies. And for example, they all have children that they've synthetically built. So you do understand they've built all their children they've done it synthetically, right? So he doesn't look well, honestly. These people don't look well. And that I always think is a sign, too, of people in leadership is how do they appear, right? Like if your pastor, for example, looks like crap and is shaking and sweating profusely from the podium, something might be wrong, right? Because I think you understand what I'm saying. So where is this all headed? Where are we going? What is the big picture? Well, this is truly, and I want you to listen to what I'm saying. This is now where we're going to get the golden age, okay? And I don't want you to misinterpret what the golden age is. This is the essential, from a biblical spiritual perspective, the false idol resurrection into the golden age renaissance that's being prepared for us and promised by our leadership. So this is when the up-only crypto rise occurs. This is when that renaissance, it's going to catch everybody by surprise. They're going to transfer everyone into the new system, stable coins, the Genius Act, which was just passed by the Senate here in June, which is now transferring all US dollars and debt into the Genius Act. Bill Pulte of Pulte Homes is now pushing through the FHFA, which he's in charge of through the Donald Trump administration. He's bringing $8 trillion in collateral, in mortgage debt and loans through Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, using Bitcoin, crypto, and stable coins as legitimate asset-backed collateral that will be used for that entire mortgage market. So all that's coming in. You see all the big, sovereign wealth funds, hedge funds. Donald Trump just announced and filed for a massive multi-billion-dollar ETF, which is buying Bitcoin and Ethereum. So he's buying, even look at what Donald Trump is doing. He's an extremely smart businessman. He's buying Bitcoin and Ethereum and crypto and all of these assets before he unlocks his own golden age, which he'll declare. And then the US government's going to start buying all those assets and pump everyone's bags into infinity. So a lot of you didn't see this. Many of you have. But a lot of the general public, they're always waiting for the roost, for it to come to roost. They're like, well, we can't continue with this debt forever. Everything's going to collapse. No, it's only going to collapse up. You see, the system is rigged, and people like Peter Thiel and Musk and the hedge funds in Wall Street and BlackRock and Goldman Sachs, they already figured this out a long time ago. They're transferring the system. Scott Bessent, for example, used to work for George Soros. He helped to collapse the British pound, which is why Donald Trump put him in power, to collapse the US fiat petrodollar. So they're well organized, they know what they're doing, and they're just collapsing the system into the new one. So it's going to catch a lot of people by surprise, because as this wealth destruction and wealth transfer ensues itself, instead of going back into some kind of old archaic 1929, instead what they're doing is getting rid of the dollar, and then they're going to pump all these new bags. Do you understand? A lot of people still don't understand this, that money isn't real. The US dollar is fake. It comes from nothing. All money is energetic and energy, and it's actually endless and abundant. See, the lie of the matrix is that it's finite and scarce. That's how they keep you running this rat wheel your entire life, and they keep you down, and the man keeps you down with the boot of tyranny. They've programmed you at institutions and schools and colleges, etc. Now all these kids can't get jobs, selling you the lie that do what you're told and that money's hard to come by. That's not true at all. Money is very abundant, completely endless, and all it is energy. They print it into infinity. So you have to think differently about all of it. And see, that's what they're doing with the money. Since the money is fake and not real, and there's $37 trillion worth of debt, and the big, beautiful bill will print another $4 trillion into infinity, even with Trump in power. All they're going to do is take the $41 trillion, slam it into stable coins, and through their Genius Act legislation, which they've already written and has already been passed by the Senate. It was passed just a week or two ago in June. Now, this month, now they're going to take all the stable coins, which will buy all of the debt to absorb the previous Ponzi scheme. Do you understand? So the people in power are running one giant Ponzi scheme of debt, and they're just transferring the debt into the stablecoin debt, which is now being backed one-to-one through the stablecoin technology and the US Treasury debt. And then that unlocks the new era, which some would argue is like a false renaissance, but it's going to make a lot of you a lot of money. And you should plan on this too, because Bitcoin and crypto and Ethereum and XRP and RSR and the Island Project and real assets keep soaring as a result of the transfer of wealth. That's all that's going on. It's just kind of like the Noahic flood, right? You've got the firmament, heaven, you've got the dry land below. Pre the Noahic flood, there was water above and below. So you have the oceans, and then you have the water above heaven. So all that's happening is the boats of crypto, Bitcoin, real assets, the Island Project, Ethereum, these ETFs, BlackRock's bags, Trump's bags, Trump coin, which is not even backed by anything. It's worth like $2 billion. They're just going to rise now. That's why I called it the digital Noah's Ark, because a lot of people didn't see this. See, they're waiting for a collapse that never comes. The collapse is up. This is an engineered Ponzi scheme renaissance that the elites designed because they're the gods of this world. See, they make the laws, they print the currency, and they have the power of the purse. Just like they can lock you down in your house and declare martial law instantly and you'll obey. I didn't, but a lot of people will. Or they can bail themselves out in 2008-09, just themselves though, no one else. Or they can declare themselves essential and you non-essential. There are no rules. These people are kings. In fact, Jeff Bezos is in Venice right now, flaunting a $50 million plus wedding, shutting down the entire place just so he can flaunt himself to the world, him and his new wife, his replacement trophy wife. So nothing against Jeff, or capitalism or anything like that, but it's kind of funny. I mean, and I'm a brute force capitalist for good, but I do think it's kind of funny because it is kind of like a giant slap in the face to all Americans. Like, imagine the good Jeff Bezos could be doing, but instead, all he's done is put fake double Ds in his new replacement wife, and they're just sailing on yachts, closing down Venice, and bringing out Kim Kardashian's butt for the cameras. So understand how misplaced America actually is. And keep in mind, for Americans settling, there's so many Americans not fighting back peacefully. Here's what always blows my mind, that the American population's okay with it, that they're okay with being a slave, while these people disproportionately take all control, pure high-level domination, absolute power, and the boot of tyranny on every single peon slave American, slam themselves into the ground, destroy you with multiple endless lockdowns, just beatings 24/7 every day of your life. Massive bailouts in 2008-09, massive racketeering, massive debt, massive breaking of the rules, inventing new laws when they can't pay back their deficits and debt. And now they're transferring you all into the new system, yet so many people are actually aware of it, you guys are, or are fighting back peacefully with an active solution, which is what this is. And remind me to talk about Elon Musk if I forget, but I want to talk about the solution here for a minute because, look, I'm advocating for all of you to be an actual solution, to lift yourself up by your own bootstraps, to be peaceful in the peaceful movement to protect you and your family and yours. Peter Thiel's not going to do that for you. He just told you he doesn't even think humanity should survive. He actually wants to get rid of you and replace you with robots, for crying out loud. All these other people say the same thing, and I'm not allowed to mention their names. Okay, Jeff Bezos ain't going to help you. Do you understand? So these people don't care about you. They've essentially hoarded out the American system and then bought off all of our politicians. And now they're just whoring themselves out around all over the place, blatantly and in your face. So, God bless them. I'm not against throwing a party or anything like that or having a good time. But my point is, these people don't care about you. The politicians in Washington, D.C. don't care about you. I actually do think Donald Trump does, honestly, even though he's not perfect and he's fighting against that system, but I care about you. So you guys need to look for solutions, but more importantly, you need to pick up a freaking shovel along with me and you need to get on board while you still can. My goal for you guys is to lift you guys up so that not only you can witness the word and salvation through Jesus, but also provide tools and solutions and a system and a private economy like we've designed here at the Digital Noah's Ark, and go lift the people up around you. Money isn't the end goal, although we know it's abundant and it's energetic and it's limitless. See, that's the lie of the matrix, to keep you down, to be thinking in scarcity all the time. If you're thinking in scarcity, you're never going to make any money. When you look for solutions and you solve other people's problems, you'll make endless, abundant amounts of wealth, because that's all it is. It's infinite and abundant. But my goal for you is to lift the people up around you and be the silent witness and help out. Help your churches, help your community, help your kids, help your parents, grandparents, help their parents. The list goes on and on. So I'm just putting it out there, even if money isn't your number one goal, which it should not be, and it's certainly not mine, then go out and be the silent witness. So when you make $2 million based on my advice, let's say your crypto picks skyrocket, which they're going to do in the next few months. And because I see these comments all the time, well, I don't want any, then just donate it all to your church, dude. Like, I'm sure your church could use it. Like, just cut them a check for $2 million anonymously and just give it to them. Buy your kids a house. Like, go help feed people, because Jeff Bezos ain't going to do it. He ain't doing anything. They're just tramping around like the tramps that they are, sailing around their yachts, slapping Americans across the face, going, look at us, ha ha, right? And screwing everybody over. It's honestly pretty disgusting. But again, these people show you who they are. I wanted to talk about Elon Musk. Elon Musk's meltdown continues. And I did a whole expose of his company Neuralink, which you guys shared on the video on Saturday, which if you haven't watched, you have to watch. It's a wonderful video. But Elon Musk's meltdown, after remaining silent largely over the last few weeks after he, I think, staged the divorce with Donald Trump and hasn't said anything, who called for the impeachment of Donald Trump, libel and replacement with J.D. Vance, which is who Peter Thiel funded and basically owns, and then also libeled and defamed Donald Trump and said he was on the Epstein list, had largely been silent, hadn't made a single comment about the Iran airstrikes, and really hadn't said anything until now, yesterday. He blows up in Trump's face once again and says, because of the big, beautiful bill, millions and millions of jobs will be lost. I honestly almost spit out my coffee yesterday. It was pretty funny. I almost shot a video, but I've been spending more time with my kids and my family, and I was also writing a newsletter for this, which is going out today for our members, our founders. But I almost spit out my coffee because I was thinking to myself, does this guy, Elon, does he even realize what a paradox it is? Because he's telling the world that Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill is going to erase and destroy millions of Americans' workers' jobs, when the hardcore truth is Elon Musk single-handedly and all of his companies will destroy more millions of jobs than any other person in the history of the world. Think about this. All of Elon's companies, from his robots, which will be replacing humans, automating and replacing all factory workers with his automated robots, devices, and AI, his Grok artificial intelligence replacing blue and white collar jobs, all of his Teslas and self-driving cars replacing taxi cab workers, truck drivers, the breadbasket of America, his robo-taxis, like everything this guy does destroys jobs. So I find it hilarious that he accuses Donald Trump, our great president, of the big, beautiful bill destroying millions of jobs when he alone, Elon Musk, single-handedly is actively destroying millions of jobs in Luddite fashion. It is absolutely ridiculous. For example, Elon plans on billions of robots to serve humans in the next few years. And another interesting part of Peter Thiel's interview is he said that, because they're best friends, Peter Thiel and Elon Musk, they're best friends, right? They started all their companies together, PayPal, etc. They're the ones that helped to get Vance in there, which is why Elon Musk called for Donald Trump's impeachment and removal, because they secretly really want Vance in, not Trump. They're Trojan horses in my view. But what Peter Thiel shockingly admitted is that Elon Musk has actually also given up on his interplanetary colonization of Mars. So he's given up on that civilization. He says he spoke with Musk in 2024, and Musk no longer believes that that's a good plan. So he backtracked on it. And the reason is because, this is what Peter Thiel said, that Musk knows that he can't get away from bureaucracy, and that what he said in his own words, according to Peter Thiel, his best friend, the woke AI will only follow him to Mars. By the way, you can't go to Mars. That's an impossibility. That's all fake. All of it is. Go read your Bibles. I'm reading the book of Genesis to my kids, going verse by verse. And the first thing it tells you is that God created the heavens and the earth with his face on the deep, essentially, and tells you about the two lights he puts in the firmament. And what those two lights are the sun and the moon. He doesn't call them stars. It's a very important thing to distinguish. They're lights, sun and moon. Those are lights, not a star. But notice they tell you the sun is a star. No, it says in the Bible they're lights. So here's a question for you. Can you land on a light? I'm not going to give you the answer, but they completely distinguish it in the Bible. God's word completely separates stars from lights that govern the day and the night. It's just interesting. So all these things these people tell you are absolute lies. Just like how I explained to you that Elon Musk is, in my opinion, taking advantage of people with special needs and pretending that his Neuralink chip devices that are going in people's brains and spinal columns are just for people with ALS. No, that's not true at all, because he himself and his own CEO says they want to merge all of you by 2028 with the AI, proving my point. So again, everything they say is a lie. I was speaking to my wife about this, and she said, the question I have for you, husband, is how do you know all this stuff, right? How do you know all this stuff? And your audience knows a lot of this stuff because you guys tune in to me, and some of you just know too, like I do. You've got your Holy Spirit filled. But how come not everyone else does? And I thought that was a really good question. My answer to that is because I think just like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk think. You understand? I think like they think. So for example, I spent a lot of time studying the Bible, history, religion, philosophy, ideologies, Western, Eastern philosophies. I think about population sets and how the world is being governed and designed. And I think about it from the same perspective Elon Musk and Peter Thiel do. They're the ones that own the place. And so they think about where are they going to direct the general people and the populations long term. For example, if they're worried about a Malthusian overpopulation, we can easily deduce the action sets that they're going to take. And so they've rolled out a very specific sequenced plan of manipulation to bring the American people here in the States and worldwide, the citizenry worldwide, to where they eventually want you to go through a series and fabric of deception. And so, for example, they roll out the Neuralink chip, say it's just for paraplegics, but of course, we know that the end goal is full saturation, full merger, and marking of everyone, which they're now admitting. And we know, for example, ushering in the AI, which is otherworldly, and as I've always dubbed it, the alien invasion, because it's alien in nature and it's invisible. They're only unearthing, honestly, demons. That's what they're unearthing. And so they're ushering in, like what Peter Thiel was even asked about, the Antichrist. It's exactly what it is. So you have to understand and go back, but also see the forest through the trees. So that's the difference between looking at life from a top-down view versus it's totally understandable. Most people are just going to work every day and they're not really thinking that much, and you're just trying to put food on the table. Because again, you're operating in the paradigm that Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, your government officials and the institutions and your colleges, they constructed it for you. They don't want you to think. Nothing about the modern schooling system is encouraging you to think at all. They don't want you to think. See, the minute you start exploring these ideas and you think like they do, light bulbs keep going off and you'll start to actually see what they're really doing. You also have to look at it from the perspective that these people, and I'm not going to pinpoint anyone, but you know what I'm talking about, these people are evil. So you just put yourself in their shoes from the perspective, if they were evil, what would you do? Like what would they do if they were evil and they were trying to lead the human race a certain direction? Then it's very easy to see the decisions that they're actually making. Another comment I want to make too is don't get caught up in this fake AI Sputnik race as if it's God. Honestly, the tech is not that good. It's kind of overblown, I think, a little bit, even though it's pretty amazing and it does certain things, like the way that its language learning model has grabbed basically all literature and libraries and books and, put all of that, into a model and then can spit it out and kind of, gather information is cool. A lot of it is hype, is what I'm saying. Wall Street's selling you hype, okay? They want to sell you the hype that AI is taking over everything because the elites use fear. Notice that Elon and all these people constantly use fear. Oh my gosh, the AI is going to take over humanity, and because it's so dangerous and we might have an apocalypse and an event horizon singularity, the good news is just give us control of everything. Give us it all, and we'll save you. You see what I'm doing? It's a false light. What they're doing. It's a false light, and it's a false doctrine. So they're using that fear, stoking the fear, right? Elon Musk has told you that he believes AI is more dangerous than nuclear warheads. Those are some quotes that he made several years ago, and he's been making. They want to amplify fears to then again take more power and control. So you give it to them because their promise is they'll protect you from the fear as long as you give them more wealth and power. It's very Machiavellian. And by the way, the only reason Elon Musk is turning on Donald Trump is because he's not happy with the EV mandate and the things Donald Trump is doing that don't benefit him. So it's kind of like a spoiled brat, used to getting everything he demands, throwing a temper tantrum now that maybe his taxpayer-infused subsidies that you pay, or maybe his specialized handouts or tax breaks or free money from the US government. He's still going to get a ton of it, by the way, but it might be cut off slightly because Donald Trump's opening up competition because look, not everyone, listen to Trump, not everyone wants to drive a self-driving car. I'm never going to get one of those, nor will I ever buy one, nor will I ever get inside of one. I want gas guzzlers. I want large Hummers that ride over all of these fake robo-taxis. You understand? I want lifted Gladiator Jeeps that don't break down when the grid goes down. They fire up. So Donald Trump is just giving us choice, which is capitalism. And this has really pissed off Elon Musk because, again, he's used to getting everything he wants, anything he demands, and he's going to throw a temper tantrum. I mean, he even owns the freaking social media platform X itself, for crying out loud. So it's just kind of like a child in his crib whining, shaking the freaking crib, yelling at the top of his lungs because he didn't get his EV mandate, and he's pissed off because he thought he bought the election. He spent $250 million to buy off Donald Trump, and he's pissed off that Donald Trump ain't bought. You understand? So great work, Mr. President. And by the way, Elon will do just fine. He's just fine. He's still going to get plenty of money from taxpayers, plenty of subsidies, plenty of special treatment, plenty of pats on the rear end. He's going to get it all. So stop complaining, man. I mean, how greedy can you freaking be? After taking billions and billions and billions of dollars of taxpayer bailouts from the American people, special write-offs, tax deductions, and free money from the government, at least Jeff Bezos doesn't really complain about it, right? And for those of you that don't know, his dad worked for ARPA, which later became DARPA. And Amazon's first contract was with the CIA in cloud computing technology. So even that's all false histories because so many people think, oh, they're self-made. Jeff Bezos, just a self-made guy. He's just a nerd. He was just a nerd. He just pulled himself up by his bootstraps and became a billionaire. It came out of nowhere. Elon Musk was poor, even though his dad owned an entire diamond mine and flew planes everywhere. Like all of it's a lie. Oh, Mark Zuckerberg, he just came out of a basement from Harvard, even though that's all a lie. Again, LifeLog, founded by our intelligence agencies, partnered with Mark Zuckerberg. So the government power And these people running your society have merged with the government. I hope you understand that. They're not just regular dudes that just cropped up suddenly from the middle of nowhere. No, they're all tied to intelligence, all tied into the government infrastructure. And notice, the reason why Elon Musk and others were so heavily involved in the election, that tells you something about the fake capitalism that we have here too. Because I believe in true capitalism and the true wild, wild west, not crony capitalism or buying politicians off. But notice, what have Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, and all these people been working on with a vengeance? Buying your politicians, spending countless dollars, getting involved in politics. That tells you that politics, political power, directly benefits their businesses, which is all they care about. So, yeah, I love you guys. That's really our update today. I'll do more commentary and maybe some short form video. I do have a newsletter coming out. Again, we're fully committed. We have property 6. Here, I'll just show you a little sneak peek there. That's property number 6 right there. That's our new unit, beachfront, Waikiki. We now have 4 properties in active circulation for guests. We have a total of 6. 4 right now. Contact my father at 808-442-2934 based on your tiers. Available for stays. So that's pretty incredible. And we get really good fireworks and stuff too right out there in Waikiki. Get all the beautiful sunsets. Huge score. So this unit we paid $2.2 million for, no bank debt. And we got a huge deal on it because we've been eyeing it for some time, just to give you a little bit of an update on the island project. But this unit was sold to the previous buyer for $2.9 million 10 years ago. So we've already baked another $1 million in equity instantly, in my opinion. And I believe this unit, which is 1665 feet indoors, plus 2 commanding separate decks, sleeping 8 will easily be worth $3.5 million in the next few years. So my member investors paid $2.2 million, almost $1 million less from the previous Japanese owners of what they paid for it in, 2015. And the only reason we were able to pick up that deal is, number one, we're really good negotiators. But the carry trade, which is unraveling in Japan, because these Japanese were the sellers, they wanted to sell and they were willing to take the loss and give my members the massive win, essentially, so they could repatriate US dollars back into Japan. So it's an incredible win. I'm super excited about that. That marks our 6th investment property that is closed just in recent months. Again, we're now fully committed to the island project, and it's your last chance to really get in. So if you want to be a founder and you want to make sure you take part of our extraordinary world-class investment of no bank debt beach oceanfront homes, soon to be tokenized, to participate in all of the upside, all the capital gains. And by the way, I've modeled this. I won't go too long, but our $33.5 million based on appreciation of real estate and the trends, doing nothing else. So I just want you to understand this. The $33.5 million in the next 10 years will be worth over $100 million doing nothing. We don't have any debt. So just based on historical trends and based on the growth rate of real estate and the beach and ocean front that we own, these are the most astounding properties in the world. The property portfolio over triples for all of our members doing nothing else. We could literally just sit, do nothing, and your investment triples in 10 years. 10 years or less, doing nothing. So all my members with 150 units, 500 units, 1,000 units, 200 units, 250 units, 30 units. Your legacy investment, see my terms and disclaimers, have to say not financial advice, triples in 10 years based on the historical trends. No bank debt, so we have no risk of leverage. Triples. And see, we designed it this way for a reason. Now, what's going to get really interesting is as we tokenize a separate event, I also want you to understand a basic concept. And our blockchain will be a lot more significant on how I'm presenting it. But I want you to understand a basic concept. Let's say our tokenization launch. just to give a round number, creates another additional $100 million in equity. That equity is used to buy more properties. Imagine, per se, that myself and our team decides to take 25% of the new blockchain created, completely separate from the founders round, just a new entity with $100 million in equity, buying more properties. Let's say we took 25% of that capital and bought Bitcoin with it. The growth rate accelerates almost exponentially. And you see, this is what Michael Saylor and others are doing, although they're very highly leveraged. They're issuing debt to buy limited fixed Bitcoin, which accelerates their share price. And then they issue more debt to the public, buy more Bitcoin, which accelerates their share price. Then they issue more debt, buy more Bitcoin. So we're doing something different. But the point is, with just a little bit of diversification and ownership of those assets with our blockchain, accelerates the growth rate even more. So it's a very simple idea. I'm giving you a simple conceptual idea. I will be releasing the details of our blockchain launch imminently. So again, another reason to get into the Island project is to participate in that, a separate event. So in addition to all of your units, 150 units all the way to 1,000, that grows, triples over time over the next 10 years. You get all future income distributions, all true capital gains, plus you can use your investment every single year at a diverse host of properties, from sand and surf and suntans, to beach, to ocean, to boating, to fishing, to skiing, to snowboarding, to lodges in Utah and Park City. But in addition to that, our separate token launch, which will benefit all of our founders, basically from the launch. Just like an IPO, just like a stock IPO, if you worked for Facebook with Mark Zuckerberg and they go public, which is what we're going to do, all of his company's investors were issued stock at zero. So they just get free stock. But now that they already have a proven model, see, this is why I spent all this time with my father building a proven asset in a proven model. It's already built, it already exists, and it's already real, and it's already physical, and we already did it. The reason we did that, so that we guarantee hundreds of millions of dollars and soon to be billions of dollars in equity created with the public launch, because we already have a proof of concept. See, the difference between us and a lot of these other tokens is they don't own anything. The Island project already owns it. We already have cash flows. We already have true 100% equity. Trump coin, for example, Trump, which is worth $2 billion, has and owns nothing. All it is a brand. So when you couple that also with our brand, which is, bare minimum worth $100 million or more dollars, that'll also be factored into our blockchain launch. I told you this, guys, for years, but I could have launched multiple of cryptos myself, which I've never done. I've saved it for Island Project for a reason, and easily, raised $100 million. I just didn't think that that was the right thing to do because it's not backed by anything. And a lot of these tokens that aren't backed by anything are going to crash and go to zero. I just do everything where there's a guarantee of a win, especially as we're investing, large amounts of capital. I don't know about you, but I want a guarantee. That's why we don't have any bank debt. Also, keep in mind that a lot of those high-flying companies like Michael Saylor and others, even Grant Cardone, whom I like, they're so leveraged that if anything ever goes wrong, they're screwed. Their companies collapse overnight because they have so much enormous amounts of debt, which is why you constantly hear them complaining about interest rates. See, I don't care about interest rates because we don't have any debt. Interest rates could go to 20%. Who cares? We don't have any payments. Everything's just wholly outright owned, just like the Ark was, just like Noah built the Ark with gopher wood. We've built the digital Noah's Ark with 100% real equity on stone and on a rock. So I end with that. Look for solutions. Get involved now. Don't miss what's going to happen next, because this truly is, even if it's a false renaissance, it's still going to be a renaissance. They're still pumping everything. They're going to still take Bitcoin and all these assets to new all-time highs. They're still going to pump you into the AI robot movement, pump you into blockchain. They're still rolling out all these ETFs. So participate, do something good with it, benefit you and your families and society, do something positive, and pick up a shovel and become a part of the solution, and do it for your own self-interest. Like, look, Island Project, even though we're very charitable people and we do a lot of things for those causes, we're operating a business. I'm here to make you guys freaking rich. That's why my father and I designed it, because I want you to do really good things for yourself, for your family. I want you to go tell others about your amazing success. When you're staying at multi-million-dollar penthouses at the Island Project, I want you to take a picture, show your freaking friends. Show them, hey, you can't do that with a stock, but with the general, yeah, we're enjoying life. Take a look, we're bodyboarding today with Papa John. I'm out golfing with the freaking general. You understand? You know, go for it, guys. Take a little risk in your life. Do something positive. And if you want a surefire way to win, there's a very easy solution, because it's already been done and already built. All you have to do is put in the key, turn the ignition, and unlock the equity that's already there. It's already here. It's already been built. My dad will tell you this as well, but the real risk of investing in this was at our launch, because that's when we didn't own anything. Now that we've already successfully dominated, all glory to God, and we own $33.5 million of all these amazing properties that are already now spitting off cash flows, and already my members are able to use and enjoy, and it's already building, and that portfolio is growing over the next several decades into a legacy asset. Frankly, you never even have to sell. Especially with the token launch, you've got all this new equity that we're going to create for you. Really cool what we've done, what God has done for us. So I hope you understand. And if you've missed Bitcoin, and you've missed, the crypto revolution, and you've missed the internet, and you've missed e-commerce, and you've missed social media, and you've missed all these opportunities, don't miss the next 1000X. The one that's actually guaranteed. The one that I actually founded, where I have all of my money, which tells you something. What do I believe in the most? What am I most bullish on? What does Papa John believe in the most? Where is all of our capital? Where is all of our elbow grease? Where are all the millions of crypto I've made personally in the last several decades? Here. Just like I was warning everybody, get into Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, screaming, throwing the chairs in the pool. I'm doing the same thing now with islandproject.com, and I don't want you guys to miss it. Make sure you get in. Call or text my father at 808-442-2934. You can also fill out an immediate app. Takes less than 5 minutes at islandproject.com. You can click the buy now button. Fill out a minimum of 150 units or more. Hit those tiers and ask my dad any questions about access, benefits, features of the project, and exactly what you get. It is enormous. You will never get that with a REIT. You will never get that with a stock. You will never get that in a bond or a municipal or fixed income or treasury debt. I mean, honestly, kind of sounds too good to be true. And my dad and I joke. It's like sometimes I'm like, man, dude, I look at my dad and I kind of hit him. I'm like, do people really realize everything we've done? I really don't think they get it, Dad. Like, we've done too much. And sometimes I joke with them, like, are we stupid? We've done all this basically for free, built a 1000X vehicle for everybody, and I still don't think people get it. Join us. Get in. There is no downside. It's only up only. It's already been built. We just closed on our 6th mega mansion property. We already own $33.5 million. We're already spitting off cash flows. You can already book your reservation and enjoy all the properties. You can take part and live your actual investment. All of my founders, and only my founders, will participate in the token launch at zero. Other people will be buying the token in the future publicly after we're already trading at $1 billion+. You're going to miss the whole 1000X. Why would you want to miss the 1000X when you can just get in now guaranteed? So, I mean, honestly, it's not even a sales pitch. It's just logic, like for crying out loud. I mean, real estate is the number one asset to own and just hold on to, especially when you own beach and oceanfront and the best properties in the world. They only go up over time. Over a long enough period of time, they only appreciate. And especially if you've eliminated all the risk of debt, which we have none. Because the only risk would be a 2008 or an '09 or something we couldn't predict. But I mean, if that happened, that would actually be good news for our portfolio, because that means we'll be buying new properties cheaper and nothing changes with the existing portfolio because we don't have any debt. Interest rates could soar to 40% on a 30-year mortgage, and my dad and I still have Mai Tais, along with all of our members. We designed it that way for a reason, because it was biblical, the right thing to do, and it was told to us, and it's been built on rock, and it's honestly been the best thing I've ever done. Not because of the money, which we've made a lot of it. We're going to make our members super rich, and we're making them rich now, but just that experience of running that ride with all of you tuning in and proving the impossible and allowing God to move mountains and showing the miracle to the world and experiencing that with our members and you and my father. That has been an amazing, amazing journey, and it's just the beginning. So I want you to understand where this is headed. And the next few weeks, as we crush through July 4th and Independence Day, as we move into this American Renaissance and the Golden Age, as Bitcoin crushes 200, 300,000, as crypto soars, as RSR 1000Xs, as XRP hits new all-time highs, as Ethereum crushes 5,000, then 10,000, as stable coins eat all US dollars, the whole reset transpires, as UBI is rolled out by the elites to the American populations, as robots and AI and Neuralink chips infiltrate your society, everything's just going to be pushing higher in this space. All of it is only going up. Scarce, highly desirable fixed assets. The way this was designed, it's designed with a deflationary mechanism. For example, we only have 33,500 units that are ever available. My father and I have left just a little bit left. That's it. It's already fully committed, but I've left a little open only for very specific people like you to onboard, and our existing members to add to their units. And by the way, if you're new, no guarantee you get in, because my existing founders have first dibs on those remaining units. So call my dad right now and fund it, because we're fine with our existing investor base right now. So understand that truth as well. But all of this is now moving into this tech renaissance. And even though I believe spiritually and I understand it, right? And I understand what the elites are doing, and it's going to be kind of like a false light renaissance. All of our assets are still going through the moon. So if you know that's going to happen, why wouldn't you be part of the solution? Why wouldn't you participate? And even if you don't care, I'm sure somebody else does. And this is what I personally, my criticism for humanity is there's not enough good people finding solutions, giving back, rising, and doing powerful stuff. You're just allowing all these other people to do it for you. You need to join us. You need to join good Christian men, and this is what we've built. It's like a mafia. It's like basically the coalition of billionaire Christians fighting back on your behalf that love God, love people, are making disciples, and making a ton of money, but that's not, the money ain't our goal. It's all energy anyways. We're not taking any of it with us. But this is a true legacy asset that your kids can inherit, your grandkids can inherit. And that in my faith and my personal belief, because I've done it for my own children as well, is I know will help protect them from the storm ahead. Because as all of it goes into the end times, which I believe we're in now, and they're forcing the mark, you're going to need private ecosystems like this to even survive, to thrive and to also survive. So again, my predictions have been accurate for the last several decades. I predicted Bitcoin. I have the largest courses in the world for Bitcoin education, bitcoinrich.com. By the way, that domain's worth millions now. Bitcoinrich.com. Do you know how much I could even sell the domain for? Imagine that. You could have just bought a Bitcoin domain. If you touched anything around anything I've said, you're rich now. Same with this. The domain itself, bitcoinrich.com. is worth millions of dollars. I've had people offer it because it's such a powerful domain. It's easy to remember, right? BitcoinRich.com. I mean, I bought that for pennies on the dollar. What was it? Over a decade ago. It's the same thing now with the Island Project. You need to wake up. I used to put out videos screaming, yelling, super excited, foaming from the mouth when Bitcoin crushed 10,000 and people were telling me it's a scam. And I'm like, no, it's going to go to 100K. It'll no longer be considered a scam. Once it hits 100K, I told you Wall Street will be buying it. And I just did a video like this 3 weeks ago, wrapped in the American flag, telling you Bitcoin's going to 3 million. That's going to happen. It's going to 3 million. It's going to freaking 3 million, guys. Bitcoin's going to 3 million per coin in your lifetime. In the next 5 to 10 years, Bitcoin will be at 3 million plus. It'll be at 1 million plus within 5 years. So life for many of you and many people is passing them by because of their failure to act, their failure to take advantage of opportunities, and then always waiting for when it's obvious. Like now people are starting to look at Bitcoin because it's obvious. You already missed all the big gains. We're going to 10x to 1 million. That's still pretty good. But you missed the millions of percentage of rates of return because you didn't buy uncertainty. You want to buy when things are not entirely obvious, when there is some level of uncertainty, when it's an IQ test and most people don't get it. You've heard things, and I've said for years, that you get the price of Bitcoin you deserve because it's always been an IQ test. Just like Island Project. If you're buying our blockchain, when the blockchain is trading at $1 billion publicly, and my current portfolio with my members is trading at $150 million, when it's obvious, I mean, feel free, but you've missed the 1000x. Do you understand? By the time the guarantee is there, it's over. So that's the point of life. Just like if you're playing baseball, if you're not taking a risk by swinging the bat, you're inevitably going to strike out because you're not even trying. So try. I hope I'm motivating you as well, but I'm trying to convey, and this video's gone super long as well, but some of you said you like my long videos anyways, so I'm trying to convey is that a lot of you are just allowing time to pass you by. You're not taking advantage of opportunities. You're letting other people control you and other people dominate you. You're letting society to tell you what to do and what to think about. What you need to focus on is solutions and improving your life and taking those big action sets and participating. Throw yourself in the ring. Take some freaking punches. None of this has been easy, by the way. This has been the hardest thing I've ever worked on. I mean, sometimes my father and I look at each other exasperated and we're like, this is, we've really pushed this boulder forward, but it's also been the most rewarding and best thing that we've ever worked on. Congratulations. July 4th in 1776 has been declared. We and our members are the first in the world to have successfully fractionalized beach, oceanfront, and ski lodge mansions in the world. Now we will be the first to tokenize beach and oceanfront and ski lodge mansions, and then internationalize our public blockchain and buy hundreds of millions of dollars, soon to be billions of dollars more property, which will include some Bitcoin ownership, gold, and a host of other crypto assets that our blockchain is going to own. And that's what we've done. Pretty cool. I love you all. And again, if you think my insights have been really, really good, and you're like, how did this guy know all this stuff? And yeah, even though I didn't like it at first, he was proven right about Bitcoin and the lockdowns, which I predicted, and the strikes on Iran. And he's even revealing all this information to me that I once didn't understand, and now I do. You should learn from that and take my advice now. And I honestly say it humbly, but my dad will tell you this directly, and he's told you this many times. He tells you to take Christopher, General Greene's advice. And he tells you, my dad's a very smart man, listen to what I'm saying here. I'm not good at everything, but in this space, arguably I'm a genius. I know what I'm doing. We've already built it. We've already innovated it. And we've pulled off the impossible into the ark that's already been built in a complete glorious way with all glory to God. Man, I mean, Most people run businesses and they're in it just for the money. You know what's really cool? Being and operating a business and knowing it's for God. That's just awesome. And I love that my investments in Island Project are in something like that. That to me just makes me feel good in addition to dominating. And by the way, the wild ideas, I'll give you guys some advice for you entrepreneurs out there. The wild ideas are the ones that work. The ones that you think will work, like, oh, well, that should be easy, just doing that. No, those will fail. The big, visionary, wild, striking, those ideas, that's what dominates. That's what wins. That's what disrupts. And then again, the way you get there, just because I'm coaching you guys a little bit too, I got business owners out there, I'm sure, you're entrepreneurs, you're trying to raise your income, and you've got to believe first. Lead with faith, and then put that work in every single day and never, ever, 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 ever quit. You need to be putting in the reps when everyone else gave up. That's how it works. There's been so many times across all my businesses, from Greenwave, social media, e-commerce, my Bitcoin and crypto investments, which have suffered 80% losses at some point before then going another 100x. There's been so many times it would have been convenient to quit. That's not how you win. Just like now, as this pump really starts, and as the golden age unlocks, and literally all the money and all the US debt now flows into stable coins, and they unlock the Bitcoin revolution, all of that momentum and that tight rubber band that's been building for all these multiple decades explodes. And then all this money is created and all this wealth is created. And then you know what people tell you? They tell you it was easy. Like, oh, it was easy that he did that. He just got lucky. He just bought that Bitcoin and, made all that money. No, it didn't work that way at all. It never works that way. People think that things only do this. It's much more like this. It's like a huge ride. So enjoy that ride. And I always get super motivated when when more obstacles are presented. Because when more obstacles are presented and you're working through like problems and finding solutions for them, that actually tells you you're at the next pinnacle. You're about to break into the next major breakout point. And this is why the Island Project is a multi-billion-dollar project, because for the first time in history, all of my members are now at the table because we've already built it, and we are able to compete at a very high Christian level for good, to be the good guys, as you hear my father say, so that all of you can participate in something special, and now you all have your piece of the rock. Isn't that cool? You can tell your grandkids out there and you parents out there, your children, when you own the Island Project, you get your docs, your 150, your 200 units, whatever it is. You can show them your docs, and you can go visit the property and have them go play around in the pool and have a good time and walk the beach with them and go bodyboarding and show them, hey, you own this. You own a part of this. This is yours forever. As long as this beautiful planet is here before the return of Christ and before the second coming, where the real mansions are. So don't get too caught up, in the world, but do powerful, big things, just like your church. Churches need to, a lot of them at least, they need a flock, an engaged community. They need resources. They need assets. Your pastor needs financial support. I mean, all these things. It's very important, especially for those of you out there like myself that have I've spent my life's mission wanting to do something positive and solution-oriented to fight back against the system that I think is evil. And that was my particular calling, and your calling might be different, but my calling has always been show people what these other people are doing and then fight back peacefully with a solution. And I came to that conclusion a long time ago because God told me, he said, don't just present the news, don't just present the media. He says, I'm going to give you tools because the people that tune into you are going to need the tools. He said, they're going to need the solution. And he told me no one else is going to do it. He says, you're going to be the guy. And so I was the guy. I went out with the crazy solution. I'm like, Island Project, baby, we're going to do it. Then I started building it, and my dad came in, and everybody's come in, and now we have near 400 investors. And we made this incredible team. and we've done something amazing. I mean, all glory to God. Isn't that cool? Think about that. Who's done that? My dad had a conversation with a friend of ours. It's kind of a Wall Street guy. And he was telling my dad just likes to share some of the stories, but he's like, oh yeah, I'll use a fictitious name because I don't want to tell you who he is. He's very famous and very well known, very wealthy. He was just laughing at my dad, John. He's like, John, I can't believe you guys pulled this off. I've never seen anything like this. He's like, you guys have absolutely dominated. You have done this in the most creative way I have ever seen. Unfreaking believable. He's like, he basically told us, he's like, the fact that you guys have already created over $100 million in equity, like I shared with you, over just the next 10 years, he says you're going to create billions easily. You've already done it. Congratulations. And tell your son the same. I'm proud of him. I think that that's really cool. So why am I sharing that story? Because it can and will be done. It can and will be done. Start speaking into the universe what you actually want. Ask for what you actually want. Ask and become a part of the solution. Join the winning team here at the Digital Noah's Ark and IslandProject.com. Fill out an app and don't hesitate. We accept ACH wire transfer, debit, credit card. We also accept crypto. Talk to my father. And by the way, we will never reach out, DM you, or message you using, WhatsApp or any of that. You can only contact my father directly at 808-442-2934 and or ask for an appointment with him, a FaceTime on his number, 808-442-2934, or just fill out an app at my only website, islandproject.com, for the project, right here with the buy now. That's it. On board, and as soon as you come in with 150 units or more, we also accept rollovers, retirement accounts, etc. Then make a reservation and book your stay at one of our amazing properties. Keep in mind, all of our members from the 30 units original, which is now that minimum has gone up higher, but our 30 unit minimum ballers, all of you can stay at properties, including all of our members up to 1,000 units, $1 million. And you can do it up to 40% off the rack rate. So a 40% discount of what you'd pay at a hotel, and it's much better than a hotel. These are amazing $5-10 million estate properties. And you can stay at your own piece of the rock. But keep in mind, when you do that, you're paying into your own equity. So all of my members staying at these properties, they get a certain amount of time comped for free. But additional stays, they'll pay 40% off the rate. That capital goes into the equity of island projects. You're paying yourself, and it only grows our asset base over time. So instead of wasting your money at the Four Seasons or the Marriott or the Hyatt or whatever it is, wouldn't it be smarter to actually just own your own investment and then pay into it so you actually make more money? Again, real estate has so many benefits: depreciation, amortization, our property portfolio over time, as we add, and we might take profits in certain properties and then add other, more beautiful properties, can all be rolled over through tax deferred exchanges and all these kinds of stuff. We've already designed all of it. It's not hard to manage. And that's also what I want you to understand. It's not hard. What's hard is growing the initial asset base. Like your first $1 million is the hardest thing to create. But once you have $1 million, it's not that hard to make 2. And then once you have 2, it's not that hard to get to 5. And once you have 5, it's not that hard to get to 10. Just like Island Project, now that we have $30+ million, it's not hard to go to 100 million. We've already done the heavy lifting. The hard work, the miracle already occurred. I want that miracle in your own life. And the easiest way to do that is to join us and become a part of something truly special. Join the winning movement. Do it before July 4th and we close. That's our 3 years, guys. We did it. Congratulations. Y'all pulled it off. We won. Isn't that cool? We freaking won. You won. You won. Papa John, you won, dude. We won. Not us, but for him. Pretty awesome, man. I'm stoked. And it's my number one leading passion. 808-442-2934, 808-442-2934. Next video, I'll do a focused news report. I'll just keep it tight. But there was a lot to talk about today. And then again, I'm proud of all of you and I love you so much. And I'm so thankful for all of you. And you guys are just amazing people and I'm praying for you. And let me know in the comments too, if there's anything you want me to pray for you about, I will certainly do that. And as crypto continues to soar, I'm going to encourage you to take profits, put it into the Island Project. take 20%, take 30%, take 50% if you've got massive profits in crypto, and book it in the sure thing. Book it in this. Book it in something that's going to 1000x again. Make sure you lock in the game. You don't let it go. We've seen this many times in crypto. Your bags pump 5x and then they go down. So lock it in, man. Don't be afraid to take those profits. I love you all. God bless. Also want to welcome some DCAs that I see coming in right now. You know who you are. God bless. Jesus Christ is King.